yes, it does matter, but it really don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like when we think about what got us into fighting games originally, and still what they're trying to get people, how they're drawing them into fighting games, is the action you saw. It was the action you saw. People punching each other in the face, the super specials, the power ups, all that other stuff. That's what mattered. That's what got people into fighting games. That's what got them there. Story is secondary in fighting games. It's like movies, different genres of movies. Like there's certain movies you go watch, and it's just like, yeah, you want to know what's happening, what's going on, like how does this person relate to this person, blah blah blah, whatever. But when you go and watch an action movie, and it's just really about people getting punched in the face, guns being fired, explosions, like all that other type of stuff, it really don't matter. Like you watch something cool enough, somebody could be destroying a whole village of people, and you'd be like, why did it happen? Oh, that dude accidentally spilled his bologna sandwich. You're like, I don't care. Like the action just, I mean, I'm seeing so much cool, amazing action. It doesn't matter why he doing it. Like I just want to see him do it. That's why I like some movies that just they kind of know this, and it's like they really don't even care too much. It's like the story be like half baked, but it's like y'all here for to see, you know, cars being exploded or something like that. And I feel like it's the same thing with fighting games. The reason why people get into it and play it and keep it going is because of the action. It's like Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur has like one of the greatest storylines in fighting games, but we see it's not doing amazing right now, and that's just because of people don't like certain stuff with the gameplay or certain ways that they handled the game. It has nothing to do with like, man, the story mode fell off. No, they feel like the game fell off. Playing it fell off. You know, when a game truly, like a fighting game truly does bad and it ends up bad, like you don't hear people mostly saying, well, the story sucked. No, something happened with playing it. That's what happened. So fighting games is just one now, like RPGs and stuff like that. Yeah, the story mode matters. That it matters in that genre, but in fighting games, it really doesn't. It's secondary. Like we want the action first, the blue blah blang first, and then the story is afterwards. So I mean that's just it is what it is, man. Like, and I like story modes. Like all the stuff that y'all named is great, but I wouldn't have invested into finding out if Ken couldn't do a flaming uppercut. I wouldn't have cared. Like if it wasn't no Tatsumaki sure you can blue blah blah, I wouldn't have cared. So, and that's for most people. Nobody, I mean, wasn't nobody. People didn't see Tekken the first time and just be like, I wonder how those Mishimas relate. That's why I'm going to invest all these years into the Tekken series. Like, no. So it matters, but it don't. So that's my take on it.
Wow. Saying all that to say absolutely nothing. Good job, man. That is quite a feat.
You can't even deny what I just said. People didn't get into fighting games because of story. People did not get into fighting games because of story.
That wasn't what the question is, though. It's whether or not the story matters.
It does.
It does. That's like saying, oh man, like I'm driving in a car and like you have like air conditioning and your air conditioning don't work. And you'd be like, well, it doesn't matter that the air conditioning don't work because, you know, I'm driving the car, right? That's what got me here is the fact that the car drives. But air conditioning matters.
We just sat here and talked about Virtual Fighter and the things that they need to make the game successful. Did nobody say a story mode?
You said to make the game successful, nobody doesn't need a story mode.
Get quiet when facts get thrown around. Say what?
Did I mention the story mode?
I don't remember doing it.
Maybe I didn't.
When we was talking about what would make Virtual Fighter successful when the new one to come, then story wasn't there. It's just the game need to be
because
played
they already have endings for the characters.
Bro, that beautiful bean footage. I think I might have said it. I might not.
Bean footage, bro.
They already have endings for the characters.
Story mode is secondary when it comes to fighting games, bro.
But that's not the question. But that's not the question.
If you talk about if it matters, then you start talking about hierarchy. Like, where does it matter in the list of things that's important in fighting games?
But it's on the list, though. Like, it's not about whether it's like whether it matters or not whether it's the most important thing. Like it's like, of course the gameplay is the most important thing, but to be like story doesn't matter because the gameplay is the most important thing, that's crazy. That's like saying that music doesn't matter because it doesn't contribute to the mechanics of the game.
A
It
bad story
matters.
mode never made a fighting game fall off.
That's crazy.
I don't know about that one now. Because Soul Calibur 5, first thing I think about, Soul Calibur 5, MVCI, MVC3 didn't even really have didn't even have a story really. Just you arcade and you fight Galactus.
The reason when people talk about why MVCI flop story mode is not like up there, they talk about way more like certain characters wasn't in the game. It looked terrible. The mechanics were bad. Like they talk about stuff like that. They didn't nobody say like the story mode sucked.
That story mode, you go back, that story mode was definitely mentioned. That story mode was garbage. What's another one? Tekken 5, like they kind of try to do something with the was it Inside Devil Within mode?
The Devil
garbage.
Within, yeah, that was not great in my opinion.
You look at tell that the people that Liu Kang fans, and then when Deadly Alliance started with Liu Kang getting his neck broke, his story didn't matter. People were mad about that. Liu Kang would turn into a zombie. It's like not my Liu Kang.
Bro, if MK1 came out and everything was fantastic, all the stuff that you said was trash about the game was fixed, good, great, fantastic. And the only thing that was bad about it was the story. Yes, they would tell people to fix that, but people would still be playing the game in droves. Y'all wouldn't have fell off of it and went away from it and said I ain't playing it no more. Yes, the story mode need to be fixed, but shoot, I'm playing the game, having a fantastic time.
Hey, man, all I gotta say to me, I do feel like stories still matter, man. Like when I learned that Charlie is one of my favorite characters in Street Fighter, and he got cooler when I thought he was younger than Gal. I thought he was Gal's protege because he just looked younger. But I learned he was like, wait, he taught Gal, and he can also throw a Sonic Boom in one arm. That makes him even more cool to me personally. I'm like, look, finding out that lore makes it even more cool. Finding out the reason why Ryu has a red headband is because he had an accident and Ken gave him the headband. Like that's out to me. That stuff is cool.
It's cool, but I don't know. I guess we look at matter differently. For me, when I hear matter, I think of like here's a list of things that are important for the success of a fighting game. Story is not like up there. Like as far as like if you don't have this in a fighting game, your fighting game will flop. It's not true with story mode.
But think about it, we got to give the casuals something to do. Right, we talk about how important casuals are. We got to give them something to do outside of fighting each other and going online, and that story mode is part of that. John Wick is a great movie, but when you learn about what he's doing there for, it's like, oh, I see why he out there doing what he's doing.
You would still have 80%. It wasn't no super deep story mode. They ran into his house, stomped out his dog, and then he said, "Okay, I'm finna go out here and I'm finna destroy everything." You came for to destroy everything. How we got there kind of is like.
Now it was deeper than that because that dog was a symbol of his dead wife. So you mess with the dog, you technically like, okay, you disrespecting this dog was a gift from my wife who is now deceased. So you that dog was literally a symbol of like, hey, this dog represents my wife. And they just like came in and mess with the dog. You literally just mess with my wife. All right, I gotta come run up in your spot.
That's 10% of John Wick. The selling point was not the story mode. People didn't go to the movies because of the story mode.
That's
I mean, I said the story mode. We talking about a movie. The story.
They got a John Wick game. I don't know, man. I get, like I said, I preface this with saying with casuals, but I still think like even with casuals, you got imagine if every fighting game came out with no. That's one of the things we talk about, having no modes. Like imagine if Mortal Kombat come out with no story mode, and this is like the game now that's allowed it for its story mode. The other games, Street Fighter 5, garbage story mode, garbage. Didn't even have a story mode when the game first came out. They had to put the story mode in the game. They give us steals and panels. Like I said, even with Tekken, like getting away from the 3D endings and giving us just steals, I'm like, bro, why would you? Like, I don't know. That's just me though. I grew up on enjoying it. And I think it does matter. Like, just imagine now if we made every fighting game and there was no lore, no nothing, just nothing.
It would be terrible. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think of it as like if you name a 1 through 5, you have to have these in your fighting game, or it's not gonna succeed. We gonna say mechanics, how it plays, characters have to look cool online, great lobbies, cross play. We gonna name so much other stuff before you get to a story mode.
Actually, you don't need crossplay in order to be successful.
But you
You
get what I'm
also,
saying though. Like you
but
just gonna
I
see
get where you're
so
coming
much
I'm
from.
more
just
stuff. Now, if I said like a RPG, like then like story mode got to be up there because like why am I investing like so many hours into like because RPGs is basically a big story mode, you know.
Also, we got to think about Street Fighter 6 they did enough to like bring back World Tour mode. They wasn't like, hey, let's just make it fighting. They brought a whole open world mode back.
Yeah,
Like,
and I will agree that, you know, coming into like this era to where like you are trying to get more casuals and stuff in the game. Yes, you need a lot more stuff to do because casuals are going to get tired of going online and getting thumped, you know. So it's like, man, I need something that I can go and do myself and feel like I'm successful. But if that's like the starting of a new era, but if we look at like just fighting games overall, you know, how we've got to where we are, like it ain't been the story. That's why you don't see a lot of content creators and or just, you know, people who invest in the fighting games. People aren't talking about the story. We're just so much in like how fun are we having playing the game.
I mean, like, but I think knowing your character, the lore of characters, keys into that though. You know, like it's like the more you know about the character, the more like you feel like this is an avatar. You make a connection with a character. You know, because I mean, every character can be a blank slate or whatever, but it's like even in like tech. If I'm playing Tekken 2, when I started playing Tekken 2, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, there's some decent looking characters in this game, but the stuff that hooks you in, like the stuff like the opening cinematic and stuff, that's part of the story. Like that is literally part of the story. Like the opening cinematic, like all that stuff, like, you know, the fated battles that you have in the middle of the game, that's part of the story. You know, that stuff matters. That increases the enjoyment of the game. You know, like I would say that story would definitely be part of the top five things that you need in order to have a good game, like to have like a what's called not even just like an engaging game that's going to like keep people like interested in playing the game, you know, because otherwise it's like, all right, it's cool and everything, but what am I doing? Why am I mean, I'm fighting using this character I don't know anything about, you know, like at least have them say something cool, like their quotes, their win quotes, lose quotes, you know, all of that stuff keys into like the story, it keys into the lore. You don't want to just play like a character that's just some random blank slate that just kind of just fights and it's like, okay, cool, whatever, man. Like they have to, there's character involved in the character and there's a backstory behind that character. Why does Guile do what he does? Why is Guile the way he is? Why is Guile dressed that way? What kind of fighter is he? Like, you know, what's the deal with Chun-Li? Why does Sagat have that scar across his chest? You know, like, and like where did he lose his eye? Like all of that stuff heightens the enjoyment of playing the game. Like I just feel like I'm like it definitely matters. I wouldn't say that it's like the number one reason to pick up and play a fighting game, but I would definitely say it makes top five. Like because you like that it's definitely top five.
imagine playing Budokai 3 if they'd have kept that board game story mode. They specifically changed that because they like that was garbage. What were you thinking? They gave you an open.
People would have played.
2 was
People
not.
would have played a Dragon Ball game without the game having like a fantastic story. One, because I mean, that's it. That's a hard thing to talk about like a Dragon Ball game because one,
Also, Fighter story mode was garbage.
So what?
Fighter story mode was garbage. Garbage.
I think people would have. Yeah, it would have sucked because we came like this is Dragon Ball Z. We want to play that story. We want to feel a part of this story because. But that's different. That's Dragon Ball Z. We was watching that before before people was even playing fighters. Probably like Dragon Ball Z is a different thing. You talking about something that was big before it was made into a fighting game. We talking about like fighting games that were legit. Like okay, we know like Street Fighter. It was a fighting game first, you know. And the thing that made us invest into that was just cool character design and in his abilities and stuff that he can do in the game. That was the thing that made you want to, how cool Akuma looked and like how crazy and stuff his moveset was. That was what made you want to go back and say, okay, I want to know his story. Like it's inverse. The other things come first and then the story mode is afterwards. For fighting games, you need this first, then that is what's gonna make me invest into the story. The story isn't the most prevalent
disputing
thing.
that though.
Yeah.
Nope. Nobody's disputing that.
It's definitely a draw in.
Like nobody's saying that it does, that the game mechanics aren't the most important part, but to discount story is crazy.
I didn't
like that's
discount it. I'm just saying it
you
doesn't
literally
matter
just
as much as
discounted
the
it
other
like
things.
2 minutes ago. You literally just did that like 2 minutes ago. What do you mean?
I said it in the grand scheme of things, like it's just not the most important. That's what matter meant to me. So hold on, y'all. I gotta take this phone call. Y'all discuss.
But I mean, I definitely I'm not sitting here. I'm not saying I don't understand the ideology that Rexon is coming from, because like I prefaced this before in my first initial take that like casuals, right? A lot of people may not necessarily they just want to press buttons. So I did mention that like a lot of people just want to press buttons, but I just think there's still enough of a fan base of fighting games out there that like a good story mode is something that's still important. But you do have a good bit of people out there that's like, I don't care, I just want to get in and fight. But I feel like even like longtime fans of certain games, they like the lore games and even like the continual lore games. And when I think about Street Fighter, like the fact that it's not even, the lore is not even ordered. It's like Street Fighter 2, I mean, it's Alpha, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, 3, and 6.
And then the 6. Yeah.
So like even that in itself is like kind of interesting, like how the lore is not even ordered, which is weird. Like for some reason, Capcom likes to do this because the same thing with Devil May Cry. It's Devil May Cry 3, 1, 4, 2. I think 4, 2, 5.
Oh, is it? Is it 4? 4 then 2?
Yeah, I think 2 was after 4, I believe. I think I'm not sure on that. I'm kind of shaky on that, but I know 5 is like the last one, I believe.
Yeah,
but yeah, Capcom might do this thing with where they don't order their games and like the story is not in order of the release of the games.
right.
So like just seeing stuff like going to Street Fighter Third Strike and seeing Sean come in and now he's Ken's protege. Stuff like that is pretty cool. Like you see this the black kid is like, oh, he's a Shoto now. It's like, well, who taught him? Did Ryu teach him? Or no, Ken taught him. Even seeing like in Street Fighter 4 Goken, which harkens back to Street Fighter 2, one of the win quotes of Ryu's like, you must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance, which I think was lost in translation and was supposed to be you must defeat the Dragon Punch to stand a chance, I think. But he said Shenlong, and it's like Shenlong was referenced to Goken. That was like his other name, I guess. And then seeing Goken come to fruition in 4 was like, oh, that's Shenlong, that's Goken. That to me was pretty cool. Like seeing that like come to like physical, like an actual manifestation moment of a line that we saw like decades ago in a previous game, and now we have that character. So I thought that was cool. Stuff like that. Seeing more lore like on the lore between Bison and just his like conquest to just like basically be immortal, just find a body. Like that type of stuff is cool. Seeing like Ed come in, it's like, okay, he's a character that's raised by Balrogs, like which like nobody thinks Balrog's gonna ever take care of a child. But I don't know, like I said, to me it's important. I think it matters. Do I think like there's a good set of people that just want to press button? Yeah, I do think that. But I think like if you're making a fighting game nowadays, especially like one of the big three, you got to have story mode. Look at Tekken 8. Tekken literally took a part of the playbook from Mortal Kombat. Like we gotta increase the story mode. Like with Tekken 7, they started. It was like we gotta increase the story mode. That whole what was it called in Tekken 6? Like the beat 'em up style. They kind of still was doing like the beat 'em up style, like Tekken Force kind of mode. It's like, man, we got to get away from that. We got to do cinematic story mode. So I think like the big three, they still understand like story mode matters. Maybe some of the smaller games, but you look at Street Fighter, you look at Tekken, you look at Mortal Kombat, those story modes, there's effort put into those for a reason. I mean, even MK, they literally make another game just for extra story mode. They've done it twice now. MK1 did it with Aftermath, and now we got Chaos Reigns. Just for story mode. They added just extra story mode to a game.
Yeah.